Module 34 Paper Pulp Print Apparatus and Materials Zinc, copper or wood block or cement block size 7 inches into 7 inches or a ready block depth etch or deep cut. Inking glass, paper pulp for print, cotton racks, press machine, hand gloves, mask, two wooden frames, one with stretch cloth fine net, thin woolen felt, water, plastic tray. Being by preparing sketches in size 7 inches into 7 inches and select one. Or one could use a deep pre-edged or prepare the 7 inches into 7 inches right angle cut, wood or metal or cement block with a half centimeter depth relief design. Wood is made of fibrous tissue which is called cellulose. When cellulose fibers are separated from wood either chemically or mechanically, this could be derived from wood, fibrous crops, or waste paper. The lignocellulosic material formed by the mechanical or chemical separation of fibers is called pulp. Most of the times, the wood fibers are enough to produce different pulp, but sometimes a little additions like waste paper adds to the quality of it. It is known now that the Egyptians were the first to invent paper, or papyrus, and it was not made from wood, but from reed which grew in the Nile. Paper making spread over the Europe in the 13th century as cotton fibers and linen fibers began to be used to make paper. As cloth industry grew, the rags of cloth was used as raw material for making paper, and this is when printing developed. By 18th century, flax seeds and plants provided enough raw material to make linen fibers, although it was a rare and expensive commodity. The use of wood to make paper pulp was invented when mechanical pulping machines were invented in Germany by F. G. Heller in 1840s and by a Canadian inventor Charles Fenertre in Nova Scotia. J. Roth's use of sulfurous acid to treat wood pioneered the chemical process of pulp making, followed by Benjamin Tilghman's US patent on the use of calcium bisulfite T-pulp wood in 1867. A decade later, the first Swedish pulp mill was established, which used magnesium as a counter iron and was based on the work by Charles F. Dahl in 1879. Make two wooden frames of 12 inches into 12 inches sizes like painting stretches. Fix one frame with a nylon or metal net. The timber sources used to call the pulp made as pulp wood, which comes from softwood trees like spruce, pine, fir, larch, hemlock, and hardwoods like eucalyptus, aspen, and birch. A pulp mill essentially chips the wooden pieces and makes it into a thick fiber board, which is then sent to the paper mill for further processing. Pulp is then manufactured using mechanical, semi-chemical or fully chemical methods. Often the pulp so produced could be bleached or not depending upon the requirement. Flora materials such as wood or leaves etc. used to make pulp consist of three main components: cellulose fibers, which is necessary to make the pulp; hemicellulose, which are shorter branched carbohydrate polymers; and lignin, which is a third polymer which binds cellulose fibers together. Apart from this, water is a component. Pulping process breaks down these fiber sources into constituent fibers irrespective of which part of the plant they come from. Chemical pulping degrades the lignin and hemicellulose into small, water-soluble molecules which can be washed away. The cellulose fibers left out are not depolymerized, a process which weakens the fiber. Mechanical pulping, as the name suggests, is of two types: GW and RMP, ground wood and refiner mechanical pulping. In this process, the cellulose fibers are physically torn apart from each other, leaving the lignin adhering to the torn fibers. Cutting the fibers impairs the strength of the fibers. Sometimes combination of two methods are used, as in chemical and thermal at first and then mechanical to follow it. There are hybrid methods which include thermochemical pulping (TMP) and chemi-thermomechanical pulping (CTMP). The chemical and thermal treatment ensures that fibers need not be cut and tearing does not render the fibers weak. In wood, only the heartwood and sapwood are useful for making good pulp from wood chips. The bark contains few useful fibers and is used for other processes. Most pulping processes use chipped wood which is uniform sized. Among the most commonly used processes which are used to separate the wood fibers are mechanical pulping, thermochemical pulping, chemi-thermomechanical pulping, chemical pulping, recycled pulping, organosolved pulping. In the mechanical pulping, grindstones legged with silicon carbide or aluminium oxide are used to grind small wood logs called bolts to make stone ground pulps (SGW). If the wood is steamed prior to the grinding, it is called pressure ground wood pulp (PGW). These days, mills use wood chips instead of logs and refiner plates instead of grindstones. Such pulp made from refiner plate is called refiner mechanical pulp (RMP). When these wood chips are steamed, the pulp is thermomechanical pulp (TMP). Steaming the wood reduces the breakage of the cellulose fibers, keeping them intact. Also, energy required is much less as mechanical tearing requires a lot of energy. Mechanical pulps are often used for products like newsprint and paperboards as these require less strength. The thermochemical pulping process employs the use of the wood chips treated with heat, thermo, and a mechanical refining moment, mechanical. This pulping happens in two stages, where the logs are first cleared of their barks and cut into small chips. The chips have a moisture content of 25 by 30% and a mechanical force applied then to these wood chips. crushes and grinds them, generating a lot of heat and water vapor. This vapor softens the lignin and separates the individual fibers. After screening and cleaning, the clumps are reprocessed and this gives a high yield of fiber from the timber. This process also retains some lignin so the fiber do not lose their shape. In chemi-thermochemical pulping process, the wood chips are pre-treated with chemicals like sodium carbonate, sodium hydroxide, sodium sulfite, and others, prior to refining mechanically. This process is less tedious as the lower temperatures are needed and shorter time and lesser pH solutions are compared to pure chemical pulping processes. Here, the goal is to make the fibers easier to refine and not to remove lignin fully. In the absolute chemical pulping process, the wood chips are combined with chemicals in large containers called digesters where heat and the chemical used break down the lignin which binds the fiber together, attempting to not degrade the fibers seriously. Chemically produced pulp is used for stronger or combination pulps of paper or boards. The Kraft process is the most used chemical pulping process, followed by sulfite process, though historically soda pulping was the first chemical pulping process. Recycled pulping process is also termed as Dinkend pulping process (DIP). DIP is recycled paper which has already been processed by chemicals so as to remove printing inks and other unwanted elements and free the fibers by a process called dinkening. The pulp is used as raw material in paper making. Many newsprints, facial tissues, toilet papers are made from decant pulp. It is also used offset printing in writing papers for office use and home use. The organosolv pulping process involves the use of organic solvents at temperatures above 140 degrees centigrade, and this breaks down the lignin and hemicellulose into soluble fragments. The pulping liquor is easily distilled out. The liquid dissolves the lignin easily and helps in procuring fibers cleanly. Most solvents used are methanol, ethanol, formic acid, and acetic acid diluted grades with water. There are certain alternative methods which are also employed to make pulp. A biological method is being formulated where instead of a chemical, a biological inoculum is used, like a species of fungi which are instrumental in breaking down lignin easily without touching the cellulose. An enzyme secreted by fungi, lignin peroxidase, digests the lignin to leave the cellulose fibers. This also could be the best environmental friendly way to procure cellulose fibers from wood chips. The pulp is bleached using chlorine dioxide, a stage followed by neutralization, and calcium hypochlorite. The pulp produced from all the above mentioned processes could be bleached further to give the white paper products as required. Instead of using environment unfriendly bleaches, the industry has moved to options like chlorine dioxides, oxygen, hydrogen peroxide, and ozone. People have begun looking for options instead of wood in farm and field crop agriculture residues. Other options are hemp fibers, grass, wheat and flax straws, sugarcane residues, etc. These are just some of the ways apart from reforestation which would salvage the threat of paper production completely relying on wood and vanishing forests of the world. Somnath Hore. Born in 1921 in Chittagong, Bangladesh, artist Somnath Hore was a painter, sculptor, muralist and eloquent printmaker. His inspiration for the paintings, drawings, and prints were the historical crises and political upheavals which took place in the 20th century Bengal, such as the Bengal Famine of 1943 and the Tebhaga movement. He was awarded the Indian Civil Honor of Padma Bhushan, having been affiliated with the Communist Party of India from an early age. Its ideologies influenced his artistic career early on, and then he joined the Government Art College in Kolkata. Harin Das was the teacher there at the graphic department, and Hore had the privilege to learn from him. In 1947, Hore did visual documentation and reporting the horrific Bengal Famine for the Communist Party magazine, Janayuddh, People's War. He began to be seen as an artist in his own right in 1946 during the peasant unrest in Bengal known as Tebhaga movement. He soon became a follower of Chitto Prasad Bhattacharya, the politician and propagandist printmaker. Hore had already learned the methods of printmaking, lithography, and intaglio at the Government College of Art and Craft, and by 1950s he was seen as a premier printmaker in India. He invented and developed several printmaking techniques on his own, including his famous pulp print technique. He used this in the critically acclaimed Wound series of prints by him much later. Dinkar Kaushik brought Hore to Shantiniketan to head the graphics department, and he lived and worked in Shantiniketan for the later part of his life. In his works, Hore is known to have addressed almost all the social evils which were going on at that time, and his sculptures and prints stand testaments to these experiences. At times, as a documenter of these heinous situations, he has been a mute witness, and this probably is what evoked in his artworks but brutal crisis of agony. His contorted bronze figurines recalled the sufferings of famine and war. This later became emblems of modern Indian art. For Hore, this witnessing was not as a precursor or stimulant to make his art, but a communist who expressed the suffering of his fellow human beings. It was more than any glamorous or artistic recording of human suffering. It was a silent yet deafening cry of revolt which shook the very foundation of the country and countrymen. The Feminine and Tebaga revolt became very important makers in the works of Hore over time to the point of an archetypal significance. Communal riots, the partition, the feeling of religious minorities, and the refugees from everywhere all created a huge impact on the tender human mind of Hore. Each of them became symbol of human survival and loss in his works to follow. Hore's 1950s woodcuts of Tebaga series shown as influence of Chinese socialist realism and German expressionism. He was also influenced by Keith Kollwitz and Austrian expressionist Oskar Kokoschka. As he evolved his visual language, his figures became more simplified and rejected details. This helped him achieve the basic distortion required to portray in his suffering figures. In 1970s, Hore's artistic journey culminated in a series of paper pulp prints called the Wound series, where he achieved a unique brand of abstraction without sacrificing his humanism. In 1968, Hore took time to conduct various experiments to blend technology of making the visual language to be able to communicate better with the denser message of human suffering, resulting in the Wound series of paper pulp prints. The idea was of making the image very tactile and real without directly portraying the deep horrors of human suffering. It took him about 4 years to arrive at this stage, and in 1972 he came up with his paper pulp prints. He began his journey as a printmaker with lithographs, monochromatic, mostly in 1971. He soon abandoned his planometric surface of the lithostone for a more vibrant and impressionable wood blocks. This gave him the feeling of the cuts and brushes required for his work. Instead of applying directly color to these ready blocks, he would make paper pulps with reds. This red colored paper pulp would be evenly spread on the ready block. This block with the ready pulp spread was passed through presses repeatedly to remove water and thin it out. The red impressioned sheet would then be peeled off and dried. These rare red prints on self-made color papers of the woodcuts and blocks inspired Hore to make these in clay. he deliberately distressed or wounded the surface with all kinds of tools and weapons. Only to get the right impression of a wound, he would then put paper pulp on it, press and roll it out. The surface which got impressed upon would receive details further from top and bottom side. He used sun-dried clay tablets to cement mattresses as per his convenience. The whole idea was to stimulate the precision of a harsh reality of inflicted sufferings and wounds. The process itself of pulp printing could be seen as dramatic, and this tearing part of fibers to make pulp is also reflected in how the artist tried to embed the whole work with that feeling. Blistered, dented, and fragile, the prints stand as representations of the wounds of human skin, pierced and disfigured by conflict, and sharpened or even rubber pellets. Somnath Hore died on 1st October 2006 after a brief illness at Shantiniketan. Health and safety precautions. 1. Do not eat or drink close to work area to prevent accidental ingestion. 2. Familiarize yourself with substances that are hazardous. 3. Clean hands thoroughly after working using baby oil, soap and water, or a non-toxic hand cleaner. 4. Keep work area clean and organized. 5. Ask your doctor if you are taking medication or are pregnant about what precautions you should be taking. Take two soft cloths and put one on the native frame and the other on half centimeter relief block surface. Six. Identify locations of fire extinguishers, first aid box, and eye wash stations. Ask your professor if need be. Keep the block and frame on net in such a way that the cloth and the art block sandwich in the two frames. Put liquid pulp on the art block and shake evenly. The paper pulp could be prepared using waste cotton paper or recycled paper or ready paper pulp. Seven. Notify your professor about any health condition or medication that may affect you in the classroom. 8. Store concentrated nitric acid and potassium chloride separately from other chemicals. Whenever possible, use diluted acid. 9. Acid etching should be done with local exhaust ventilation. 10. An important safety rule when diluting concentrated acid is to add the acid to the water, never the reverse. 11. Wear appropriate gloves, goggles, and protective aprons of lab coat when handling acids. 12. If acid is spilled on your skin, wash with lots of water. In case of eye contact, rinse the eyes with water for at least 15 to 20 minutes and seek medical attention. Cover acid baths when not in use. 13. Use adequate ventilation. 14. Keep minimum amount of solvents on hand and purchase in smallest practical container size. Large amount of solvent or solvent containing material should be stored in a flammable storage cabinet. 15. Never store solvents or solvent containing material in food or drink containers. Always label containers. 16. Do not allow smoking, open flames, or other sources of ignition near solvents. Have a Class B fire extinguisher in the area. Leave it for a few minutes till the water drains out from the sandwiched frames. Constantly keep maximum pressure on the pulp and cloth. One could also use a press machine for this purpose. Gently and carefully remove the cloth and the block smoothly. Leave it to dry. Take the final pulp print, time 3410, make the addition on the paper